it's the top 100 that was released by MLB Pipeline and the top 30 prospects that were released for the Marlins organization. Daniel, there's one guy in particular that I really want to ask you about, but I'm going to talk to Alex first. So just let me go. I'm just going to go over. There are 7 Marlins in the top 100 in MLB Pipeline's top 100 this year, which is obviously the most the Marlins have ever had. And, as much as people, are looking at a bleak future right now, it's still pretty bright down here in Miami with all the talent that's lurking behind this, team right now. So Khalil Watson, their number one, their first round draft pick, taken at number 16 this past All-Star break. Comes in at number 28. He's their highest ranked prospect. Edward Cabrera and Max Meyer go back to back at 30 and 31. Sixto Sanchez is at 45. JJ Bleday, with his struggles this year, falls all the way to 77. Jake Eder rises as the MILB ERA leader, goes all the way up to number 82. He's the 6th ranked Marlins prospect. And then Jesus Sanchez comes in at 91. He's the last Marlins prospect on the list, and he is the 7th ranked Marlins prospect. And then here is the rest of the top 30. I'm going to pull this up for you now, and I'll round out the top 10 for you guys. So Sanchez was 7, and then Yuri Perez is 8. Joe Mack, the second round, the competitive balance pick from this year, is number 9. And then Dax Fulton, the left-handed pitcher who just got moved up to high A Beloit, is number 10. Alex, obviously, we've had some discussion recently about Marlins prospect rankings because everybody was kind of upset about Baseball Americas and how they viewed the Marlins system. So I'm curious. I've always been a Pipeline guy, so I'm curious what your thoughts are. How did they do? How does it compare to your top 30?
Yeah, I mean, I think the list is good, honestly. The one thing that always mystifies me personally is – especially with high school kids, they come right out of a draft and he's the top prospect in the organization. I got to see the guy play. And I know there's evaluators and reports and everything, but I want to see the guy play before I rank him as the top, organizational prospect. That's just me. And we will get to see him play. And we have seen him play a little bit already in the FCL, which is fine, but it's been like 3 games. So that always kind of, doesn't confuse me because I know the potential is definitely there, but it kind of mystifies me that, like me personally, I can't put him over a close to MLB ready guy like Eddie Cabrera or, guys like that. So if we're talking about future value, yes, it's definitely there. It's possible for him, but you got to see it translate, right? I mean, this is a high school kid. He's got a while to go, but got to see it translate. So I have him lower down than number 1 for sure on my list personally. Just personally, but that's just me saying that. I don't obviously get the reports that Pipeline gets. They're connected with a lot of the top evaluators. So not going to argue with them. Good for Khalil. I'm excited for that kid for sure. Yuri taking the jump. That's very well deserved. That guy was untouchable, as we talked about last show, in single A as the youngest player in minor league baseball. He will be pitching in Beloit. I personally don't think he's going to get a ton of time there because I believe he's on innings limit, as is Daxton Fulton. A lot of these guys are, especially younger kids that are, having their first pro seasons here in 2021 after the missed 2020, of course. So big jump for him is great. And then, the rest is all fine. I have Salas, who I know you want to ask Daniel about, right at about the same area, like 11, 12. And then the rest is good. I mean, you see Burdick, I think, fell like slightly per their last update.
16.
Because of the inclusion of Watson and some of these like Mac and draft guys. So that is what it is. They did go draft heavy. I'll say that they put a ton of the draft guys in the top 30, but they always do that, as I mentioned before. So other than that, I like their list. I think it's perfectly fine. But yeah, they always go draft heavy on Pipeline.
Yep. So looking at it, just Jordan McCants, Cody Morissette, obviously the 2 at the top. I think those are the draft guys that I see in here. Isaac, any surprises from this list? Like one that stands out to me is they dropped Lewin to 12, even though he's been great in AAA this year. And some of the guys that are still kind of lingering around the top, Nick Neidert has been up and down at the MLB level this year, and he's over a guy like Peyton Burdick, but that might be a little surprising to me. But what were something that stood out to you?
The couple of surprises to me, honestly, were one, having, like Alex said, the draft picks being so high up, particularly Joe Mack being the 9th overall. I think, he's a long way away. And so to put him above guys like Jose Salas, I know he's far away as well, but to put him above like Peyton Burdick and guys like that, that's a little bit of a shocker to me. but the top 5 on their list was exactly the same as mine, except just like different order, but the same 5 players. To have Sixto at 4 was a little surprising as well. To me, I think the guy's already proven in the big league, so just based on that, I think he should be a little bit higher. And then the last one was having Nassim Nunez, that high, in my opinion, 15 over guys like Burdick, Kyle Nicholas, Zach McCampbell, especially how they've performed in Double-A this year. It was a little surprising, but other than that, looks like a good list.
I kind of like how they paired Nicholas and McCambly together. They put Meyer and Cabrera at the top together. I was actually, when I saw Eddie Cabrera was number 30, I was like, wow, like they really, it's great. I definitely think it's true. And now he's ranked over Sixto. They have Cabrera and Meyer ranked over Sixto. Injury concerns, I imagine, go into that. How will Sixto come back from those injuries? So, Kev, I'm going to go to you next, man. You put out a top 30 list. You hyped it up. It was great. I'm curious, what your thoughts were based on your top 30 and just, how it kind of compared.
I'm a little bit shocked Khalil Watson's number 1. As Alex said, he's barely played. I think Eddie Cabrera should have been 1. I think I put Max Meyer 2, if I'm correct. I'm not sure right now. I don't have the list at the top of my head. But, it's pretty similar to mine, except Lewin Diaz. They threw him down there at 12. I mean, that one surprised me a little bit. I had him top 5, I think, on the list at the time because he was just raking AAA. Besides that, this list looks good. Jake Eater's in a good spot. Joe Mack, a little bit surprising to see him at 9. I thought he's top 15 for sure, just not top 10, in my opinion. And then you have guys like Yedi Kape, who's in there. Yuri Perez took a huge jump. That guy has been incredible, as Alex said. Then you have Dax Fulton, Jose Salas, who we're going to talk about in a bit. I'm surprised they have Braxton, Garrett, and Nick Neidert in the top 15. That's a little bit surprising. I know they've had MLB time and all, but they haven't been that good. I mean, Nick Neidert's been better, but Braxton had his up and downs, as we mentioned. Peyton Burdick's a little bit low on the list, in my opinion. I think he should be able to crack the top 15. Didn't. And then Gerard Encarnacion makes 30. Yeah. That one's surprising to me. I think he should be a little bit higher on the list. He's a good player. I know his injuries really pushed him back, but besides that, I think he should be at least considered top 20. But I like the list. Just really the big surprise to me was putting what's this guy's name? Khalil Watson at number 1, not putting him maybe 3 or 4.
Seven was a shocking number. When I saw 7, I like couldn't believe my eyes. But Daniel, obviously you're tapped in with the big league club, but I know you keep an eye on this stuff as well. So, overall impressions of what's going on the Marlins farm, and then Jose Salas, Venezuelan. I know about the kid, and I want to get your thoughts on him because he's a guy that I'm super high on in this Marlins organization.
Yeah, me too. And for me, it's crazy because I think I saw Jose when he was 9 or 8 years old in Venezuela, and because I actually went to a couple of workouts with the academy of his grandfather in Caracas, but I never thought he was gonna be that great. But I know he has some pedigree and a big baseball family. His dad signed as a professional, same with his grandfather, and he's gonna be good. And for me, it was surprising last year when I saw him making his debut in Winter Ball in Venezuela. Actually, the first game I did on TV, in Winter Ball in Venezuela, he was I don't think he was leading off, but he was playing for Águilas del Zulia. And for me, it was so surprising, like Salas, is he really playing? And because at the time he was 17, 18, and it's usually you see young players making their debuts in Winter Ball, but at the end of the year when the team is already eliminated or in the playoffs, and for me it was surprising to see Jose and the type of at bats that he had in that league, because. Yeah, when you go to the GCL or FCL or Rookie Ball or the Dominican Summer League, you're developing and working on some stuff. When in Winter Ball, if you're not performing after 1 week or 2, they just send you home and you have to compete, and it's a whole other level. And for me, it was so impressive to see Jose performing that well, and that tells me how mature he is. Although he's just 18 years old, and I think that's gonna be huge for him and a huge asset for for the Marlins. They've been doing a good job raising this kid. He knows English better than Spanish, and I think that's going to help him in the way, just to communicate with the coaching staff and the players in the organization. It's always important for everyone to speak English, but especially for Latin players, it's not that easy. But Jose basically grew up here in the U.S., so that's going to help him a lot as well.
Yeah, I'm super high on this kid. I mean, you look at these numbers, that are on the screen right here, 368, 455, 505. Like, when you talk about what the superstars do to the lower levels of the minor leagues, like, those are the type of numbers you put up. You see guys in the Marlins organization that we've been high on that have put up pretty good numbers, but not like dominant road to the show, MLB video game numbers like Jose Salas did.
Also,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that he's been doing a pretty good job in at shortstop as an infielder, but he also played center field in winter ball, and that's kind of interesting because I think he's gonna grow up a little bit more. He's gonna be a tall kid, so I don't know, maybe if they want to try something else and on a different position, and that also could be good for him. He's able to play somewhere else, not only shortstop but any other position around the field.
I thought he was a third baseman. So what's the deal with his positioning, and where do you think he fits best?
I personally think that he will eventually be a third baseman. I think that because I think he's going to grow into his frame a lot more. I haven't seen like a ton of like video or anything of him. He does handle shortstop fine, but I think it takes a little bit of pressure off of him only having to go one way, right? So I honestly, I think he profiles best long-term as a third baseman especially because of power. This guy's got prodigious power already. Yeah. So,
505 slug.
That's an asset at shortstop, but the Marlins have so many long-term shortstops. Like, some of these guys got to move. And I think Salas will be one of them. Personally, I've said that for a while that I think he's a third baseman, but it's interesting to hear Daniel say that he also plays center field, which I actually didn't know. So, yeah,
I think it was more about the situation with the team down there.
Right.
They didn't have a center fielder all season, and that hurt them a lot because they had so many errors with that position in winter ball, and that was crazy for Águilas. But I think that they were. Also, I mean, don't get me wrong, they were adding some pressure on him because he never played there.
Right. And he had to go handle it.
Yeah, and it's not easy to you have to go there because we have nobody else, and we need you to actually perform well over there. And as I said, it's not the same when you're doing it, in rookie ball or the Dominican Summer League or whatever, because it's different. You're developing, not competing, or not competing at that same level. But I think, if they're trying him there, then maybe it's because of something, and it's because they see the athleticism that he has, and that's what I really like. And I agree with you, Alex. I mean, I think eventually he will move to third base because of his body type and the kind of player that he can be. Same, I think that's going to happen with guys like Correa or Seager, of course, saving the distances because those guys are superstars. But I think that something similar can happen.
Yeah, we're talking about Miggy. At the beginning of the show. I think he gets that treatment as a third baseman. So same thing. As he grows into his body, I think that's definitely his future home personally. And then, like I said, the Marlins have so much. Nassim Nunez and Ian Lewis, and then now they have these new guys from the draft coming in, Hostetler and all these other guys, Watson. So they have to move guys. So I definitely think he's a third baseman. But man, seeing him hit is just a joy, man. And I'm going to go on Saturday to Jupiter and see him hit. So I'm excited to see him in person.
Yeah, Salas was just promoted to Jupiter a couple days ago. He got his first hit last night. 6'2", 191. Get this, guys. April 26, 2003. So he was born after the Marlins World Series campaign started.
Born after me.
Yeah.
He had some crazy exit velocities yesterday, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 104, 105. Isaac, I saw you kind of itching, nodding your head a lot. What were your thoughts? Well, you have some thoughts on Salas?
No, I think Danny said it perfectly. I think Alex said it earlier. The guy's going to be he's one of in my list of three, untouchables. He's one of them.
Interesting.
Him, Eddie. and maybe Uri Perez. But yeah, no, I think he's gonna be a stud. I think he's probably one of the better infield prospects the Marlins have in the organization. I don't even think you could compare Nassim to the guy, but I do see him moving to third base. He just looks like he's gonna be a bigger guy, and I'm really excited for him to continue playing at Jupiter, because I think that'll be a really good competition for him.
Yeah,
Nassim is a spark plug. I mean,
Yeah.
what a guy.
Yeah. All he does is get on base and steal
gets
back.
on base,
I think he had
man.
like 30 something
It
before
sucks
he
he
got
got
hurt.
hurt. Like he's had that foot issue all year. Like if he didn't have that foot issue, he could have probably challenged Jeffrey Perez, who is the all-time leader in Hammerhead's franchise history in stolen bases. He stole like 75 bases or something when he was in the minor league system. So, but Nassim definitely has that same kind of speed.
He's got before he got hurt, he had like 30, and he's been out for like a month or so, I want to say. So, obviously still bright down there, and like I'm watching a lot of these lower levels, and some of the guys we might have given up on quickly. Cam Meisner's on fire, and some of these lower levels, they're hitting really good. And then Salas, I'm ready. I'm nearly ready to like put my word on this kid. Like this kid is the one. Like I really think this kid could be. If you're looking for that superstar prospect for the Marlins, obviously I want to see how he hits in low A, but depending on how he does in Jupiter, like I'm gonna get ready here quickly to start putting my name on Jose Salas and how good he's going to be. But good, overall good discussion. I think, like a good list, after the top 10, it kind of starts getting like, okay, you can throw these guys into any order really. Griffin Conine has hit 31 home runs this year, and he's number 23 on the list. Like I get he strikes out a lot, but that's a little ridiculous. And Meisner's been dropped, and Osiris Johnson is hanging around. He's back in the top 30 at number 28. Ian Lewis is a guy that not a lot of us talk about, but Jazz has talked to me about him, and he tells me he's going to be great. And so back end of the organization is starting to show up on this top 30, the lower levels. And